She made millions laugh as Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. But behind that smile, Irene Ryan carried a secret that would break even the toughest heart. Everyone knew her as the fiery, no-nonsense old woman with a shotgun and a sass-filled laugh. Yet few realized she was only 5 years older than the man who played her son-in-law. At 60, she lied about her age just to get the role, because producers told her she looked too young to play Granny. But that role would make her a legend. And quietly, it would also mark the loneliest chapter of her life. Born Jessie Irene Noble in 1902, in a tiny home in El Paso, Texas, her childhood was shaped by poverty and war. Her father, an Army sergeant at Fort Bliss, earned barely enough to feed the family. Outside their small door, the chaos of the Mexican Revolution spilled into town. Inside, hunger and hardship shaped a little girl who would one day fight her way onto the stage. At just 11 years old, Irene found her escape under the glow of theater lights. She sang Pretty Baby at a local talent show and won $3. But what truly changed her life wasn't the money. It was the sound of the applause. That moment lit a fire in her heart. Against her mother's wishes, she ran away to chase that sound. Joining traveling theater troupes, sleeping in cheap hotels, singing through illness, performing through pain. She faced ruthless crowds who would throw food at acts they didn't like. But Irene refused to give up. She learned to sing louder, laugh harder, and smile through fear. Every show was survival, and she never missed a single performance. By her early 20s, Irene was part of a comedy duo with her first husband, Tim Ryan. They became a vaudeville sensation, Tim and Irene. On stage, she played the goofy, confused wife. But off stage, she ran everything. She booked the shows, handled the money, and wrote much of their material. Still, the act wore her down, pretending to be silly while hiding how smart and capable she truly was. When the marriage ended after 20 years, she kept his name. Perhaps because it had become her armor in a world that rarely valued women on their own. Hollywood never made things easy. Roles for women her age vanished, and her powerful voice, roughened by years of chain-smoking, was both her trademark and her downfall. Yet in 1962, when most thought her career was over, fate handed her one final shot. When the Beverly Hillbillies began casting, Irene walked into the audition room and transformed herself before their eyes. She didn't just act like Granny, she became her. The walk, the voice, the spark. She was unforgettable. And when the show aired, she turned a silly sitcom into pure gold. America fell in love with her, and she earned $500,000 a year, more than many movie stars of her time. But fame couldn't fill the silence of her small Santa Monica home. She lived alone, surrounded by cats and memories, in a modest bungalow with cracked furniture and faded paint. She never remarried, never had children, and spent her nights reading letters from fans who still called her Granny. Behind the laughter, she was a woman who gave everything to her craft and asked for nothing in return. In 1972, at age 70, Irene made an extraordinary comeback on Broadway in Pippin. Her short performance stole the show, earning her a Tony nomination. But just months later, in the middle of a live performance, she collapsed on stage before a stunned audience. Doctors found an inoperable brain tumor. She was never told the truth. She believed she would recover, but she never did. 47 days later, Irene Ryan passed away at 70 years old, alone in her quiet Santa Monica home. Her gravestone bears a single word: Granny. The name that made her famous became the one that defined her forever. But even in death, Irene left behind something beautiful. With no children to inherit her fortune, she gave it all away, creating the Irene Ryan Foundation, a scholarship fund for young actors. To this day, her generosity helps new performers chase the same dream that carried her from hunger to Hollywood. So, the next time you see her smiling on screen, remember, behind Granny's laughter was the story of a woman who fought for every breath of applause and turned loneliness into legacy. If stories like this move you, if you believe legends deserve to be remembered for more than the roles they played, then don't let her story fade again. Subscribe, share, and join us only on the Backstage Eyes, where every star's truth finally steps out of the shadows.